This is a review of a book on the Genocide African Novel by Chigbo Anyaduba. Born of a PhD research at the University of Manitoba, supported by several scholarships and a fellowship from the Morton Mandel Center for Advanced Holocaust Studies, this book, written by a Canada-based Igbo scholar, connects two different fields of studies, the postcolonial African literature and interdisciplinary genocide studies. Expanding on previous studies on the Holocaust, it explores some of the fictional responses to the genocidal mass atrocities perpetrated against the Igbo in Nigeria and the Tutsi in Rwanda, an unusual selection, offering a unique viewpoint on two facets of contemporary African genocide, with Biafra and Rwanda chosen because of the volume of literary work published about them and because of the link these have created between genocide and justice. This comparative reading examines how literary works have tried to construct meaning out of extreme and targeted violence, raise fundamental questions about the nature of genocide and the role of the artist, and tries to make meaning out of what is usually considered as meaningless. The book is divided into two parts. After a short first part, offering a global reflection on genocide based on the Holocaust and focusing on Africa, the second part of the book, composed of 4 chapters, alternates studies on Biafra and Rwanda in Shoinka's Season of Anomy, and Adichie's Half of a Yellow Sun, Murambe's Book of Bones, and Courtemanche's Sunday in the Pool of Gigali. In the introduction, the author presents an array of considerations concerning the events in Biafra and Rwanda, focusing on novels that allow a variety of artistic responses to African genocides. He chose 4 well-known novels, 2 of each country, illustrating major artistic responses to violence, while also mentioning a number of other works. The choice of these 2 countries is also dictated by there having been a turning point in the way they progressed the ideas and representations of genocide in Africa. The author avowed aim is, through an intersectional response and approach, to identify and theorize the postcolonial African genocide novel and this is what really sets this book apart. While acknowledging how much our conceptions of postcolonial African violence has been impacted by the representations of Holocaust and how this has helped to make them visible, the author underlines the specificity of both Biafran and Rwandan situations in a bid to attract readers' attention to the novels considered and have the atrocities they paint recognized as genocides according to the UN Convention on the Punishment and Prevention of the Crimes of Genocide. To do that, he explores the link between the Holocaust and the literary representations of genocide in Africa, especially in Biafra and Rwanda, and provide a glimpse into the many reasons behind the accusation of genocide. He explains how narratives on the Holocaust influenced the writer's novels, but also shows how these novels helped to broaden the perspective in the African context, and seeks to prove that the mass atrocities in Nigeria and Rwanda do meet the official criteria for considering genocide. The author tracks the evolution of the notion of genocide from the Holocaust until today and examines the role played by the narratives in societal reconstruction after mass violence. The narrative about Nigeria's history and the events which triggered the Nigeria-Biafra War is both remarkably clear, and accurate. The author has obviously taken great care to be as impartial as possible in a domain that has remained highly explosive, as you know. His inside knowledge of the Biafran case brings an in-depth character to the study of the war. Writing on the genocide suffered by the Igbo in Nigeria has led to the rethinking of war fiction as a genre, with hundreds of literary works published since 1968. Even though these novels have tended to sideline the issue of genocide, hence the need to recover this discourse and reimagine Nigerian nationhood as what has generally been presented as Nigerian war fiction has been mostly written by Igbo people. In addition, it offers unusual features, notably the choice of Soyinka and Adichie, which allows a contrast viewpoint on the Biafran story from both sides of the divide, Igbo and Yoruba, Nigeria and Biafra, enriching the perspective with a neo-feminist viewpoint on Biafra in Part 2, Chapter 4. The choice of Soyinka's novel, A Lone Voice from Outside the War Divide, which led to its author's imprisonment, adds its weight to the literary witness. As for Rwanda, the texts considered emerged from the 1998 Rwanda project and were consequently published in France, addressing a Western readership. This controversial project concerning Rwanda, jointly sponsored by France and Rwanda, sent 10 African writers, non-Rwandans and Rwandans from the diaspora, looking at the events from outside, to Rwanda, to bear witness to the then recently recognized genocide and memorialize the 1994 tragedy. The project was deemed successful as it helped create an awareness of the genocide. The case of Rwanda shows a difference in the treatment of available data, probably due to the fact that unlike Biafra, now defunct, Rwanda still exists as a stable country. The study of the two novels on Rwanda follows the same pattern as the other one, contrasting two viewpoints, here African and non-African. The book builds a web of reflections, linking concepts and events, the colonization and its aftermath, the post-colonial violence, the concepts of genocide and dictatorship. It deconstructs the articulation and elements of the definition of genocide. The reference to the Holocaust, a tragedy that was quite recent at the time of Biafra, provided the basis for writers to promote the recognition of violence against Igbo as a genocide, and the Biafran story as a response to the genocide, decontextualizing the message to give it an international and moral dimension. The Rwanda story, more recent than Biafra, refers more to the Holocaust, facilitating the denunciation of genocide. Both the Rwanda and Biafra stories share the same motive. They present the genocide as an encounter with hell, conceive it as a ritual sacrifice, understand its memorization as a moral imperative, and adopt an aesthetic of naturalism, propelling graphic narratives of suffering inflicted on the body. In all cases, there is a clear progression from victimization to the subsequent perpetration, survival, and witnessing, which all contribute to the powerful impact of the author's plea.